Welcome to the Bald Brad Show. It is Wednesday, June 12th. Holy lordy. We've almost made it halfway through another freaking month of Joe Biden being in office. Well, it is Wednesday. It is hump day, folks. And Joe Biden, the worst president in American history, folks. This guy fights with a teleprompter, looks for dead people in the crowd, falls up a flight of stairs, hits a golf ball backwards. Yes, we're doing everything all out of order today, folks. Joe Biden is sitting there drooling into a drip tray, duding his diaper, and still thinking he is able to run for office again, folks. This guy is off his rocker. He is by far, not even close, the worst president in American history. Patriots, it's great being back with you on this fine Wednesday morning, and boy, oh boy, do we have another show for you. And let me tell you something. Yesterday, we killed it on the live stream. You guys clearly love live streams. That live stream yesterday is going to hit 2,000 views. A normal video, 250 to 500. We are hitting big numbers here. I think we got to keep doing lives every single day, folks. Our peak yesterday was 155 people in our live stream concurrently. Truly remarkable stuff. The Patriots are supporting the Bald Brad Show. Couldn't appreciate you guys more. Well, the big story today is the story that the media is not telling you, which we'll get to in just one moment. It's all smoke regarding this Hunter Biden trial, you guys. They're trying to deviate away from the true story. They're trying to make it all smoke. And we're going to get to the bottom line of what the story really is regarding Hunter Biden, Joe Biden, Jill Biden, the whole Biden family corruption scandal that's going on. We will break it here on the Bald Brad Show. Well, we always got to give you updates on what's going on, stuff that we talked about in the past. And if you recall, we haven't talked about this in a long time. We have reparations coming back to California, and it has advanced in the state assembly. So what they're going to do is they're going to have this task force. And what it really is an agency that they're going to create. And this agency is going to help Black people find out if they deserve reparations or not. So it says here to confirm their eligibility for any future stuff that's passed through the state. Now, how much is this going to cost, you might ask? Well, Brad, aren't these people that want to seek after reparations, shouldn't they have to pay for it themselves? Nope. You do as a taxpayer, and it's going to cost you $1 million annually to run this agency. Now, remember, this is a lowball number. Anytime the government gives you a number, just try to triple it or quadruple it, and you'll probably get to the actual real number. So this is what they're going to do. And they're proposing to distribute in the state of California, yes, you're seeing that correctly, $800 billion. That's 2.5 times the size of our state budget. How are they going to do it? Well, we'll get to that in just one moment, but here they are. It's unbelievable.
800. Economists, consultants from the task force reported the total amount could be as much as 800 billion. 800 billion. That's 2.5 times the size of our entire state budget. To pay for that, you'd need a major tax hike, unlike anything this state has ever seen before. I recognize and acknowledge the painful part of our history. The pains of our past should not be paid by the people of today. The majority of our state is Latino and Asian, making up 55% of our population. Most of them, like me, are first, second, or third generation immigrants who had nothing to do with slavery, discrimination, Jim Crow laws, nothing. It is fundamentally unfair to force these people to pay for this, and because of that, I will be opposing today.
Correct. Preaching what we've been saying for years here on the show, that somebody's injustices of the past shouldn't be paid for by those in the future. And that's what's going on. Look, there was a time for reparations. As a matter of fact, reparations was given in different ways way back when. Well, today is a little bit of a different story, but it's not going to stop the state of California from virtually spending almost $1 trillion on this stuff. Now, somebody said here, the most broke state in the country is going to pay for reparations to people who weren't even slaves. Ridiculous, but typical of California. That is correct. And somebody also in the live chat here mentioned, the live chat is moving up for me, but Brandy said, with a deficit and loss of population, correct. Remember, Gavin Newsom lost $100 billion surplus in this state. $100 billion. That's with a B. My millions sound like billions. It is a remarkable thing on how bad the Democrats are at running anything. And they're going to sit there and hound Donald Trump for his handling of things. Well, speaking of handling things poorly, you're being gaslit again here regarding inflation in the economy. So this just came out today, like, I don't know, a couple hours ago. Inflation ticks slightly downward. This is what the media is going to push, that it's gone downward. No. It's still up. It's still up almost 2% since Joe Biden's been in office. Wait till we get to the numbers in a second to show you how much things have increased since Joey, this knucklehead, and that's me being polite, has been in office. So inflation rose 3.3% year over year last month, slightly down from the 3.4% that we just talked about yesterday. The consumer price index ticked down slightly from 3.4 headline rate from April. Core inflation, which excludes volatile food and energy prices, rose. It's still going up. But see how they mislead this stuff? Because you guys, people don't really read the actual news anymore like most people. They just kind of go through the headline and then the first sentence, and that's it. They don't actually go down to the paragraphs below, which absolutely destroy Joe Biden and what's really going on for American families all across the country. And again, the consumer inflation has slowed dramatically since its peak of 9.1%. It's still up. But remember how Joe Biden keeps going out there going, well, it was 9.1 when I was already in office. No, it wasn't. In the same way, they have this charade that they tell you that gas prices were through the roof when Joe Biden came in office. No, they weren't. They were not. We have the graph, Joe. But they call it the Putin's price hike. Everything's somebody else to blame rather than Joe Biden himself. So here's some info for y'all. Overall prices are up 20% since Joe Biden's taken office. Remember, Democrats want 4 more years of this. Joe Biden's approval rating is 38%. Now, is that low? Yes, but understand, there's a margin of error. There's a margin of freaking error. Let's just pretend the margin of error is 2%. Sometimes it sways between 2 to 3%. It's pretty typical. That means 40% of this country, 40% are in favor of Joe Biden after what we're about to go through. Just keep that in mind. Inflation under Biden is more than double the level seen under any president for the last 4 times. 4 more years, though. 4 more years. Inflation has been above 3% for 38 straight months, the longest period of high inflation since the 1980s. Like longer than I've been alive. Look at this. They're covering up everything, folks. They're covering up everything, which we'll get to in one moment. Oh, we're not done yet. Look at this one. Prices in non-discretionary areas remain high and rising. Check this out.
When you look through this number, what you're seeing, again, is all the non-discretionary stuff, all the things that we have no choice but to spend money on: food, energy, housing, healthcare, continues to be incredibly sticky in terms of prices. I would say high and rising. Yeah. When you look through...
I would say high and rising. Yeah, absolutely. So since Biden took office, if you're in your car, pull over. If you got something in your mouth, make sure you actually put it all the way down, because gas is up 55%. But don't worry, it's Putin's fault, you guys. Everything's Putin. None of this here is Democrat policies. None of this here is Joe Biden's fault. Nope. You can blame, just throw something at the dartboard, and it's probably going to be, somebody else's fault other than Joe Biden. So groceries, 21%. Eating out is 22%. Baby food, which was already expensive. Remember when they were giving illegal immigrants the baby formula when Americans themselves couldn't get it on the shelves? And then they started rationing people. Do you guys remember that? And then video, I think Marsha Blackburn came out with it, or somebody else, and showed video of the pallets of baby formula at the border that were going to everybody else other than actual Americans. I'm not saying babies should starve. That's not what I'm saying. But it shows you just who gets put first, right? Not Americans under the Democrat Party rule. Food, 12 through K food, 65% pet food, rent, 21%. I mean, people can't even buy a house anymore. Natural gas, electricity, used cars, airfare, public transportation. Remember, there you go. Real average weekly earnings down almost 4%. But don't worry, you guys. Everything's fine. You're making more money. Everybody's good. Everything's fine. Nothing to see here. Typical gaslighting. Typical gaslighting. Well, Joe Biden went on a bunch of speeches yesterday. Okay. Moms demand action. Then he talked about guns and how he's going to sit there and chisel away at your Second Amendment rights. Well, this guy sounds like he's medicated. This guy sounds, mind you, he has a teleprompter. This dude sounds like if you showed up to a party 4 hours in and Uncle Joe's been drinking Bud Light for 8 hours, 4 hours of the party, 4 hours before, dude's just slammed. Here we go.
By the way, if they want to think to take on government, if we get out of line, which they're talking again about, well, guess what? They need F-15s. They don't need a rifle. By the way, if they want to think to take on government, if we get out of line, which they're talking again about, well, guess what? They need F-15s. They don't need a rifle.
Now, if you guys want to know how hardcore I am with the Second Amendment, I am okay with people getting F-15s. I'm okay with people having bazookas. I'm okay with fully machine guns. I'm okay, fully autos. I'm like a hardcore Second Amendment advocate. I think people have the right to get whatever the hell they want. Well, Joe Biden doesn't think so. And with that, when he has all these gaffes and he slurs, you know what I mean? Like, how can you gaslight the American people and pretend like Joe Biden isn't slurring through his words, isn't fighting with the teleprompter, isn't deranged? He's not sharp. He's not with us. He's not an intellectual. And finally, the media is waking up on this, you guys. Finally, you have Joe Scarborough and MSNBC waking up to the fact that Joe Biden is not with us.
Again, it's just like the way we started this show. Trump is literally crazy on stage, and I say it.
Except he's not. Joke's on you guys. Listen to what they're going to say about Donald Trump. And in the back of your mind, pretend like you didn't hear that beginning, because everything they're about to label on Trump is Joe Biden. Watch this one.
Not in a good way. Not well. Not fit. Not mentally capable of holding together a sentence when his prompter goes down.
There you go. Now, my bad. I was trying to make a joke there, and I started it too early into the clip. I really wanted to start it after they mentioned Donald Trump. I screwed it up this morning, folks. Give me a break. But now, if you just had started it, right?
On stage, and I say it not in a good way. Not well. Not fit. Not mentally capable of holding together a sentence when his prompter goes down. And yet,
let's pause it there. That's Joe Biden. They're pretending that that's actually Donald Trump.
Yet Biden is constantly covered for being old, but yet travels onto the world stage doing speeches, dinners, important ceremonies, recognizing people who suffered and survived.
Lady, he looks for dead people in the crowd. He's at meetings, like G7 meetings, these summits. He's conversing with dead people. What are you talking about that he's there? When he goes to these speeches, he fumbles through his words. Yeah, there you go. Pooping on stage. Michelle gets it.
D-Day,
right.
Spending time with them, connecting with them. You see it all on video, except if you go to these places or you talk to those Republicans, you see the one time where he couldn't find his chair.
Well, but even
oh, it's just a gaffe. Oh, just that one time he couldn't find his chair. Can we just pause here? That's just that one time he couldn't find his chair. You mean that one time of him getting lost on that island? You guys remember this video where he's on like this island and they're in like a restaurant, like it's kind of outdoorsy, sort of like a balcony kind of, and there's an overhang, and Jill Biden comes up and goes, "Hey, there you are." He gets lost going to the Oval Office. We've seen the tape. But don't worry, guys. He just couldn't find his chair.
that was
doctored.
a lie. It's disinformation. It's doctored.
This is where we are right now.
It's lies versus the truth. It really is. And And let Republicans keep lying about Joe Biden. It's only going to help him in the end. It's only going to lower expectations so much that he's going to come out and do what he does at every State of the Union address. He's going to outperform because of all the lies that are told about him.
It's unbelievable. You guys, Brad, we know this. Why are you showing it? Because it's only going to ramp up. It's only going to get more insane. Like, you guys, they're going to keep doing this. As we mentioned, they're going to keep doing this. They're going to say Joe Biden's sharp. He couldn't find his chair. He can't find his Oval Office. He doesn't know his way to Marine One. He can't get get on Air Force One properly. Well, again, we keep showing this clip because the media apparatus, the mainstream media, is working in conjunction with the Democrat Party because they're shitting their pants too because Joe Biden is not fit to hold office. All the while, they're going to go on the media who's rubbing their shoulders and say stuff like this. Again, we've seen this.
How much should a candidate's cognitive function factor into that decision when someone votes?
I don't even know what that question means. I mean,
You don't know what it means?
When they vote, should they be thinking about which candidate, how they're functioning cognitively?
Sure, absolutely. They should.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Adrienne Elrod, Senior Biden campaign spokesperson, thanks for joining us.
I don't know what it means. And if you remember, she goes on to say, Joe Biden is sharp. He's done more than 4 to 5 other presidents. You guys have to understand, I'm like losing my breath because I'm trying so hard not to laugh. So, Joe Biden, all these gaffes, it's all make-believe. It's all make-believe. We're gaslighting you guys here in the Bald Brad Show. It's not real. Joe Biden's sharp. He doesn't slur his words. He doesn't do to his diaper. No. Folks, Joe Biden just yesterday had such a disastrous gun control speech. It was gaffe after gaffe after gaffe. And you might be thinking, Brad, do you have the receipts? Do you have the footage to prove that Joe Biden is deranged? Why, yes, we do. Yes, sir. So, are you guys ready? This is all the same speech. Just yesterday. And you might be thinking, Brad, you've been opening the show like every day with Joe Biden gaffes. Yeah, because it happens every day. Happens every day. Claims he was a professor at UPenn, which he never was. Which he never was. Do I need to do it again? I drove 18 wheelers. No, you didn't, Joe. Claims he taught, I'm going to lose it. I've tried so hard to keep it together with your Patriots. A constitutional law class on the Second Amendment. Oh, God. Which he never did. He never did. He just made shit up. Here we go. This last one's great. And we'll get to the real quote, what actually Thomas Jefferson said, but ends by failing miserably to say that the phrase was, the tree of liberty is watered by the blood of patriots. Here we go.
Damn important. We need you. We need you to overcome the unrelenting opposition of the gun lobby, gun manufacturers, so many politicians when they oppose common sense gun legislation. I used to be when I was no longer the vice president, I became a professor at the University of Pennsylvania. Before that, I taught a constitutional law class, and so I taught the Second Amendment. There's never been a time that says you can own anything you want. You couldn't own a cannon during the Civil War. No, I'm serious. Think about it. How many times have you heard this phrase? The blood of liberty. Wash your dough. Give me a break. No, I mean it, seriously. And by the way, if they want to think to take on government if we get out of line, which they're talking again about, well, guess what? They need F-15s.
This guy's so far off his rocker. So far, Gun. Jen, toss me an email. My link is in the description. Yeah, toss me an email. I'll help you guys. I tossed you an email with the other day when I met you guys on Sunday. Has my cell phone number in that email. We can talk about that today. I'll help you guys out. Joe Biden. I sat there and was a professor at UPenn. No, you weren't, Joe. No, you freaking weren't. And the reason why this is important is because He's not even fit to stand at a court case. He's not fit to be in the box as a defendant with that Robert Hur. This is all important because what you're seeing is a movement here to sit there and cover up what's actually going on, not just from the economy, not just from our domestic policies, not just with the invasion, not just with freaking our foreign affairs. Now you got Russia off the coast of Cuba. All this stuff is happening. It's all smoke, you guys. It's all smoke. To go after Donald Trump for not paying a parking ticket on time, grand jury, what are they doing in reality? What's actually going on here? They don't want to get to the real story, and that's what we're going to cover today because it's all smoke. It's all smoke, you guys. Hunter Biden, as you're all aware of, because we're patriots and we keep up to date with the news, we know what's going on. Hunter Biden was found guilty on all counts in gun case, okay? Now, to be fair, I don't think this is something that is going to evolve, and I think it was Pat earlier on in the show asked this question in the live chat. Do I think that he's going to be thrown in jail or whatever? No, I don't. I personally think he should just get a fine. I don't think the guy should go to jail. And rather than just being, I guess, overzealous about this, which I've kind of seen from a lot of people on the Republican side of the aisle, again, registered Republican, conservative at heart, there is a difference. I don't think this guy should go to jail for a paperwork thing. As much as I'm not a big fan of the Bidens, I'm not a big fan clearly of Hunter Biden, not a big fan of Joe Biden or any of them. I don't think the guy should be good. I don't think he should be put behind bars. Give him a fine at the end of the day. I think it's a little ridiculous, okay, for some paperwork stuff. In the same way that logic runs linear with Donald Trump putting something as a legal service because he paid a lawyer to do something allegedly. Now, that lawyer is a guy that wanted revenge on Donald Trump, and his name's Michael Cohen, and that guy's a nut job. That guy's on TikTok, I think like 4 to 5 hours a day just ripping Donald Trump. So the whole thing's foozery, but he was found guilty. Look, he did something wrong, and you know, you got to pay the price, and it could be as high as $750,000, which isn't much because of all the money he's getting from Russia, Ukraine, Romania, allegedly. We got to throw out the word allegedly a lot today. So we all saw Jill Biden walking out, and we'll actually show that because I haven't seen it myself. But she flew back just to see Hunter. So here she is walking out of the courtroom with good old Hunter and his little lady friend. Why does Hunter walk like Joe? I mean, Hunter's not that deranged, is he? Not knowing where he's going. I think Joe's rubbing off on people. It's just me. Oh, wait, what? Am I going that way? Where we go? Oh, that way? Nope. Oh, where am I going? Jesus, man. It runs in the family, I guess. No, I have a damn clue. Well, special counsel David Weiss came out and said the following regarding Hunter Biden's convictions. Earlier today, Hunter Biden was convicted of 2 counts of lying on a form, literally paperwork. God, it sounds a lot like what Hillary Clinton did with Burisma. Not Burisma, forgive me, that's Hunter Biden. With a Fusion GPS of labeling it as a certain type of expense, meaning a legal expense, which it should be under opposition research, but she didn't get a trial. She's not behind. She's not locked up. She's not put away. Donald Trump does the exact same thing. Grand jury, 34 counts. Hunter Biden, you know, hopefully he just gets a fine. What do you guys think he should get put behind bars? What do the Patriots say? What do the Patriots say? And by the way, you guys, Jennifer there is the lovely Patriot that we met at Beachin Seal Beach. It's okay, Jen. I'll help you. Copyright infringement happens all the time. Like my last 3 videos today got copyright infringement. Don't worry about it. It's not gonna get taken down. You'll be okay. There's ways to move around it. But again, look for that email. It's thebaldbradshow@gmail.com. Show them some love, you guys. Show them some love. They're blowing up. They're viral. They're amazing patriots. So he said here, there have been 2 overarching themes emphasized by the prosecution during trial, the defendant's illegal choices and the rule of law. So blah, blah, blah. He goes in and breaks it down, right? The reason why that's important is because through this trial, we found out some information that we were told was Russian misinformation, Russian disinformation. Remember, we just saw Joe Scarborough say Donald Trump's not fit to hold office. Donald Trump fights with his teleprompter. Donald Trump slurs through his words. Donald Trump's this or that. No. Joe Biden slurs through his words. Joe Biden's not fit to hold office. Joe Biden is all those things. And remember, it was Joe Biden, the Democrat Party, the intelligence apparatus that sat there and said the Hunter Biden laptop wasn't real. And again, it's all about the media actually being the freaking displayers of misinformation and disinformation. It's the media that's doing all these things. And I promise we're going to wrap it up with a nice bow on top in a little bit. But we need to sit there and lay the groundwork of what the media is doing, lying to all of us. And it was going back all the way to here where Joe Biden said that the laptop wasn't real. But we just saw that the FBI said it was through this Hunter Biden case and all this other stuff that they can't hide anymore because now it's all coming out in the open.
Former national intelligence folks who said that what he's accusing me of is a Russian plant. They have said that this has all the 5 former heads of the CIA, both parties, say what he's saying is a bunch of garbage.
This is classic Trump. We have 4 days left, and all of a sudden there's a laptop. There's overwhelming evidence that from the intelligence community that the Russians are engaged.
I still think that the stories from the fall about your son Hunter were Russian disinformation and a smear campaign, like you said.
Yes. I know you'd ask it. I have no response. It's another smear campaign.
It's the last-ditch effort in this desperate campaign to smear me and my family.
To smear you and your family. Yeah, it was all fake. Not real, you guys. Don't worry. You're the conspiracy theorist. You're a threat to democracy. You're a threat to the republic. As we've heard Joe Biden say so many times, he is a pathetic liar. He is an absolute pathetic liar. So with that in mind, because he was convicted guilty, you might be thinking, Brad, your show's kind of known for these White House press briefings. Your show's kind of known to cover the manipulation of the Democrat Party and the hypocrisy of the White House. Well, there's a reason why we haven't done one in 2 weeks. That is because this lady keeps canceling them. And there was supposed to be one yesterday. I was going to be like, dude, we're going to have a banger of a Wednesday show. And don't get me wrong, we still are having a banger of a show today. If you're having fun, hit that like button, folks, and leave us a comment down below. It does help support us. Well, she canceled the meeting. She canceled the briefing right after Joe Biden's son was convicted. He was convicted on gun charges. And so the media is kind of pissed about this. And they're coming out of the woodworks going, well, she's likely too incompetent to field questions on the matter.
Kayla, we'll let you get to that press briefing that was obviously delayed by the president's remarks. It actually just got canceled.
Yeah, we just learned that.
Whoops.
Briefing canceled after the president's son was convicted.
Yeah. Well, we're going to take a quick break, I think.
We'll discuss also.
Let's keep going with the panel.
All right.
They didn't even know what to do. And that's CNN. CNN's like, oh my God, they canceled the briefing. She's not competent. She can't handle these questions. You know why she didn't show up? She probably knew Peter Ducey was in the room, or Jackie Heinrich, or our boy Philip Wegman. She knew she was about to be bombarded with a bunch of questions that she's not actually able to handle because she's the worst White House press secretary in freaking human history. Now, with that in mind, here's where we package it all together. What the hell is the story? What is the smoke and mirrors? They're going to utilize the media to cover up what's really going on. They're going to use the Democrat Party platform in conjunction with the media to cover up what's going on. They're going to sit there and try to remove Donald Trump from being on the ballot to cover up what's going on. They're going to try to sit there and put Donald Trump on trial so that he's not able to actually be on the campaign trail so they can cover up what's actually going on. They're going to sit there and keep Donald Trump in the courtroom and then find him guilty on some bullshit charges so they can cover up what's going on. They could sit there and then put Hunter Biden on trial for some foozery regarding some paperwork as well. And again, I'm not a Hunter Biden fan, to cover up what's actually going on. And I think Vivek has it perfect here, and he's going to sum it up right for me on what I think is actually going on regarding the Hunter Biden story.
Big freaking deal. This trial was a sham. Just like the Trump trial, it was a sham, but a sham for a different reason. It's a sham designed to legitimize the Trump conviction. That's why it came right after, even for charges that date way far back. But it also avoids accountability for the Biden crime family on the actual things that Hunter Biden should have been charged for. Like, for example, peddling foreign influence while his actual father, Joe Biden, was the vice president of the United States. Hunter had no business serving on the board of a Ukrainian energy company, a state-affiliated energy company. that's affiliated with the same country, Ukraine, that his father now, as the U.S. president, is sending hundreds of billions of dollars of your taxpayer money to. That's where the real crimes lie. So this deflects accountability for the actual investigations that are more close to implicating Joe Biden, while coming in convenient timing right after the sham Trump conviction in the veil of bipartisanship. Don't buy it. I said this before, I'll say it again. This is a smoke screen, and the reality is you got to cut through it to get to the essence of what's happening in this country. So Hunter Biden.
I need this man to be vice president. He is so spot on. It's ridiculous. Now you might be thinking, well, Brad, you just used Vivek's words to describe what you're thinking. We've talked about this. We did an entire long, it was like almost an hour and a half episode. I think it was an hour to an hour and a half on the Biden family corruption. We actually went in detail of the money funding from Romania to Ukraine to Burisma Holdings, Sinseca, the other shell company or parent company of Burisma Holdings that Devin Archer was a part of. We talked about the family going on golf trips and dinners with the Bidens, even though Joe Biden said, I've never heard of this person before. It is a cover-up of the actual story. Think about how many months they got away with not covering this story because of everything else that's been going on. You know how deep this thing runs? This thing runs so deep, like Vivek said. It goes back, way back when Joe Biden was on camera saying that if they don't fire the prosecutor, Shokin, that's looking into Burisma Holdings, again, the natural gas company, which Hunter Biden was on the board of, doesn't know jack shit about natural gas, which is one of the things Shokin was actually looking into. Well, that goes all the way back then. And you got to wonder, why is Biden sending China our oil reserve during COVID to the exact province that Hunter Biden allegedly has business holdings in? Again, we've hashed this out. We've covered it. Why is he giving billions of dollars to the Ukrainians? Why is he sitting there receiving money from Romania? Why are all these things happening? Well, again, you have Wall Street here, the Wall Street ape, saying Democrats convicted Donald Trump of 34 felonies. And here's the evidence of Congressman Scott Perry telling reporters the GOP has on the Biden family corruption right here.
Those things aren't normal. That's not.
Let's do it.
What actual evidence do you have, as opposed to allegations, to show to the American public that would merit an actual impeachment inquiry of Joe Biden and prove that today isn't just about some of you?
Oh, I don't know.
Speaker McCarthy for the sake of enacting political revenge.
This isn't about political revenge. We have the bank accounts. We can see, ma'am, you can see that the homes that the Bidens own can't be afforded on a congressional or Senate salary. You also understand that it's not normal for family members to receive millions of dollars from overseas interests. Those things aren't normal. It's not normal to have 20 shell companies. These things are not normal, and it alludes to not only just widespread corruption, but money laundering, if not influence peddling itself. That's what we have. If you can't see that, if you are that blunt, look, I'll turn it over to the attorneys.
I can't see that.
He's just getting pissed because, like, dude, if you're that blind and you can't see this corruption, what the hell? He just leaves the podium. Money laundering, influence peddling, which again Shokin was looking into on Burisma Holdings. Because again, why is Hunter Biden on the board? Why is Hunter Biden's buddy Devin Archer, who revealed all these things to people in Congress, the American people in Congress like Jim Jordan and others, regarding what's going on here behind closed doors? You have emails, cell phone messages, you have actual witnesses to all this alleged crime. Nothing happens. And how are we going to sit there and make sure we swayed the voters? We're going to suppress the information. We're going to suppress what's actually going on. Again, this is all smoke. The Hunter Biden, they got away with months of dealing with Donald Trump. Now they got away with weeks of dealing with Hunter Biden. What are they going to do now? What other story are they going to concoct to sit there and make sure that the American people don't find out about this money laundering, this alleged influence peddling, the president receiving money from other places? How is he affording all these houses? How does he have all these shell companies? How does he have all this money coming from every which way? Well, you guys, he's receiving a ton of money. Now, we're not going to break this down, but I want to make sure you guys have this. The Biden's influence peddling timeline. Again, $3.0 million from Romania, okay? He's got $8 million from China. It's from China, all right? $6.5 million from the Ukrainians. hundreds of thousands of dollars from Kazakhstan. Russia, $3.5 million. But don't worry, according to the Democrats, nothing to see here, folks. It's not like I'm pulling this out of my ass. This is from the committee oversight, an oversight. The government website, it's a .gov. Like, it's all there. They have the receipts. We've shown the actual checks on the show. We've shown the actual checks from China written out to Joe Biden's brother and how that's funneled into Joe Biden's account. We've had checks come from other countries that's funneled into the Biden family bank accounts, their personal accounts. And what'd they say? Oh, it was for rent. Oh, really? $1 million? Oh, Hunter Biden goes, I financed a truck. I couldn't pay for my bills. Really? Really? While your artwork somehow selling for millions of dollars? Really weird. Really weird, but it's normal. It's completely normal. Now, I didn't have a long stint of being an auditor. It's called assurance and advisory accountant. But what that gentleman was talking about that was on the podium, forgot his name. What was his name? Scott something. Scott Perry. It is basically he's auditing. This is something the IRS does with your taxes. Going, hey, you know what? You're not reporting any of this money on your taxes, but somehow you have all these houses and you have all these businesses. Like, what's really going on here? And there's a phrase that we use in accounting saying, if it smells like shit, usually it is shit. Meaning there's a lot of doo-doo smelling, and it's not all coming from Joe Biden's diaper. A lot of it's coming from the 20 shell companies, the possible money laundering from overseas. How are you getting all these houses, and how are you able to afford all these things on a Senate salary? A little weird. A lot of questions got to be answered here, and we're not getting a lot of answers to our questions. Well, again, we got some updates here regarding the immigration. The election fraud is coming up, folks. If you want to join us, we're not done yet, but we do have a membership, 99 cents a month, $4.99 and $9.99 if you want to support a fellow patriot. Please don't feel like you have to. It's just there. We don't have any sponsors, so I got to plug the Bald Brad Show stuff. Don't worry about it, Pat. Don't worry about it. You got to save the money, folks. It's Bidenomics. But you just watching and supporting us and hanging out like we are in the live chat as a community of fellow people that love this country, that's truly what matters and what's really important. So, updates on illegal immigration, which we've been covering since day one here of the show. We got 8 suspected. I'm not going to get it out. It's just unbelievable. The reason why this is unbelievable, we're told that this is not happening. That's the thing. 8 suspected ISIS-linked terrorists are arrested in 3 U.S. cities after allegedly crossing the border.
All from the Central Asian country of Tajikistan were arrested in Los Angeles, New York, and Philadelphia. They entered the United States this year and in 2023, crossing the Mexican border. They were vetted and allowed to remain in the country. CBS News has learned further investigation uncovered the men had possible ties to ISIS-K, the terror group which claimed responsibility for an attack at a Moscow concert hall that killed more than 140 people earlier this year. 8 individuals, all from the Central Asian country of Tajikistan, were arrested in Los Angeles, New York, and Philadelphia. They entered the United States this year and in 2023, crossing the Mexican border. They were vetted and allowed to remain.
I had to listen to that. The fact that they were vetted. Like Joe Biden vetted these people. He goes, come on in. As long as you vote Democrat. Jesus. You have terrorists in this country. We keep saying it. And the media have come out and said it's not happening. It's not real. Well, I'm not so sure that's the case. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you are Democrat, Independent, Republican. They're coming after us. They're going after our people. At the very least, if they're not committing crimes, which just is committing crime, what I'm about to label here, is that they are sending massive amounts of fentanyl through our border. And crime is rising in all major cities, which we have here. Murders are up double digits in cities across the country.
Up double digits in L.A., Baton Rouge, Kansas City, Orlando, Wichita, and Colorado Springs. In Pompano Beach, Florida, police and federal agents just wrapped up a 6-week sweep targeting guns and drugs, arresting 132 suspects and confiscating dozens of weapons. Murders are up.
But don't worry, Joe Biden says none of this is happening. You're being gaslit. It's Biden's crime-solving strategy to allow more crime to thrive. We saw this even under Donald Trump, where the Democrat Party did not want to sit there and actually arrest the people that were burning down our cities. Remember, when Black Lives Matter went out into the streets and burned down all our cities, it was during COVID. You couldn't go to church service. You couldn't see a family member in the hospital. You couldn't even go to work. You couldn't do jack shit. But Black Lives Matter can go out and riot. You have Gavin Newsom that can go to a restaurant, but you couldn't go to a restaurant with your family. You couldn't pay your bills. You couldn't do anything. But these people get away with everything because they vote Democrat. Because they vote Democrat. And because they vote Democrat, what we see here is, you guys ready for this? Election integrity. Millions of U.S. voters lack documents to prove citizenship. Just lovely. But give them right to vote. Allow them in there. Here we go. Now, again, bring the receipts. Bring the receipts. Nearly 1 in 10 eligible voters lack access to documents to prove their citizenship. Now, is it they lack access or they just don't have actual proof of citizenship? That's the question. If asked to quickly locate a passport, birth certificate, or naturalization papers to produce proof of citizenship tomorrow, 21 million Americans, about 9% of eligible voters, would not be able to do so. Just lovely. Look, are these actual Americans that can't produce the paperwork? Sure. But the question is how many are not able to or not legally allowed to actually vote? The reason why I bring that up is you have this committee here sounding the alarm on election integrity. The election's coming up. We told you they're going to pull some foozery. That's exactly what's going on here. From left to right, you have these people. Whoa, we had ad blocker. I don't know ad blocker. Well, I'll summarize it for you. There's this group of people that are out there that are more on the left-leaning side of the aisle saying that ultimately these people for election experts and voting rights say that, well, people don't have access to the ballots. They don't have access to the panels. They can't do this. We must protect democracy. And what's even more astonishing here is that a lesson America has learned from its allies in Eastern Europe who are subject to Russian foreign disinformation before us. I want to bring this up because, again, there's these people that are going to go on the media and are going to gaslight you about election integrity. They're going to sit there all of a sudden and say, well, hold on a second. We're not so sure if what's actually happening is actually happening. The reason why they're coming out of the woodworks and doing this is, one, they want to sit there and spread their own misinformation regarding what's actually going on with the election because Joe Biden is losing. Remember, they weren't peddling this stuff when they were winning. No, they weren't having Attorney General Merrick Garland come out of the woodworks and say that they're going to be serious about election integrity and that they're going to throw you in the brig if you do anything or have any foozery, that they're actually going to perform audits. They weren't saying any of this stuff when Joe Biden was winning in the polls. All of a sudden, Joe Biden's approval rating is at 37.9% or something like that, basically 38%. And all of a sudden, they're talking about election integrity. All of a sudden, they're going to sit there and start laying the brickwork and the pathway to look into all this stuff if they lose the next election. And what are they going to say? It's the Russians again. It's Russian misinformation. It's propaganda. The propaganda is coming from the GOP and on a state level, and our foreign adversaries are meddling in our election. They're trying to destabilize, right? They're trying to destabilize American democracy in our elections. Interesting. Very interesting. And by the way, you guys, again, this is a panel that's talking about misinformation and artificial intelligence. So they're trying to lay the groundwork just in case they don't win. Now, what are they going to do here to try to make sure they win? Harvest ballots. They want to do mail-in balloting again, universal mail-in balloting. They want to allow people to vote that aren't legally allowed to vote. Well, check this one out. And I think there's more to this story. Swing state expands online voting and push to make ballots more accessible to American Indian tribes. Now, nothing against allowing American Indians to vote. Nothing against that. But notice the state that this is happening in. The battleground state in Nevada. Why is this such a big deal, you guys? It's a big deal because I think they're trying to allow electronic ballot access, online voting to more people. And I think this is going to lay the groundwork. Nevada is being sued by the GOP right now for not cleaning up their voter registration rules. Nevada is the state that we talked about for the 2020 election where people were voting from properties that physically did not exist. It's just out there in the desert. People were voting from properties in the state of Nevada that were actual properties there, but those people never lived there. They were voting from these properties where they were registered to be living there, but weren't in fact living there, or somebody was voting on their behalf in the last election, which is, you can't do that. It's voter fraud. So online voting, that's not very secure, is usually reserved for members of the military and overseas voters, with some states allowing disabled citizens to vote electronically. But Nevada will become the first state to expand online voting to American Indian tribes. Now, my question is that do Native Americans tend to vote Democrat or Republican? I don't actually have that answer for you, but my heart and my meter is telling me Democrat. At this point in the United States, it is a relatively small number of ballots that are coming through that way. Oh, but we should be very concerned, both from actual security risks, but also from a public confidence point of view about expanding this. Correct. This is how they sit there and are trying to reach every last nook and cranny of that vote, you guys, to make sure that they can do some foozery here. The FBI sent a memo to election officials in 2020 warning them about allowing a ballot to be returned online, calling the practice a high-risk activity. Folks, if you don't think there's not going to be some foozery happening this next election, you got another thing coming to you. And we have an update here. You've all seen this lady regarding election integrity. You got the Wanda, the sufferer, arrested on election fraud. And when you see the video, you're going to remember who this person was. Here we go.
Wanda has been arrested. The Democrat operative who was caught on camera allegedly stuffing ballots in Bridgeport, Connecticut last year was charged with unlawfully possessing another person's ballot and witness tampering.
Whoa. Jesse, we were told this wasn't happening again. You guys heard it. There was no election fraud. I mean, how many times have we heard that? There was no election fraud. Nothing was happening. Oh, you guys are conspiracy theorists. You're making it up. What's happening here? Isn't this election fraud? Why don't we look into this? Why does the government not care?
But this has nothing to do with her alleged stuffing in 2023. This goes all the way back to 2019. Wanda was arrested for ballot fraud in the city's 2019 Democrat primary for the same candidate she helped elect in 2023, Mayor Joe Ganim. Wanda is accused of filling out someone's absentee ballot, telling them to not vote in person, and then asking them to not tell investigators about what she said. Wanda isn't the only Democrat arrested for fraud. 3 other Bridgeport Democrats were charged. One of them's a city councilman. Wanda's been suspended with pay from her city job for months. She works for the front desk for the mayor that she got into office.
It's unbelievable. Jesse can't even believe it. He's reading from a teleprompter and he's going, holy crap, it just keeps getting worse.
Fox 61 reporter Matt Caron paid Mayor Joe a visit today. Watch this.
We'd like to talk with the mayor about some of the city workers being arrested for election fraud.
Hi, I'm on. I'll be right with you.
Thanks.
We waited. Fast forward. Mayor Ganim didn't want to talk to us, but his 2019 and 2023 mayoral opponents did.
I always felt like I had been cheated. I didn't know the depth of it.
We caught it live on video directly from City Hall. The players and the actors remain the same.
Both Marilyn Moore and John Gomes say they believe they should be occupying Bridgeport's corner office.
Hey, maybe so, but they're going to do it here in the federal election, you guys. They did it before. Why would they not do it again? They got away with it in 2020. Why would they not try to do all of this again? Well, they're going to, you guys. They're going to sit there and cover up the Hunter Biden story. They're going to sit there and try to cover up all this influence peddling that happened when Joe Biden was vice president and his son was on various boards, specifically Burisma Holdings. They're going to make sure that doesn't get out in the same way that they sat there and lied to you about the Hunter Biden laptop. They lied about the Hunter Biden laptop because they knew it was right before the election, and that would have swung American voters, and they were right. 17% of American voters would have at least not voted for Joe Biden, and you would have somebody else, meaning Donald J. Trump, as the 46th president currently in office. But because of the foozery, because what they did with election integrity, what they did with voter fraud, they're not cleaning up their ballots, which is why you got Nevada, Pennsylvania, and I think it's Michigan being sued right now for not cleaning up their voter registration rules. Be prepared. I'm not laying the groundwork for a bullshit election. I know there's going to be a bullshit election. Regardless of who wins, there's going to be voter fraud, and I don't want that to happen. I don't care if somebody's doing voter fraud for Republicans or Democrats. It's voter fraud at the end of the day for whoever it is. But this is what they're going to do, and the media is working in conjunction with the DNC to hide things from you. And that's what our job is, to expose it and remind you, because there's so much stuff out there. It's hard to remember all the craziness that Joe Biden has done because there's a laundry list of things, and we'll make sure we keep you up to date on what's going on around the world, both foreign and abroad and domestically and in Joe Biden's, White House, whatever. But with that being said, folks, hit that like and subscribe button. Leave us a comment down below. That does help support the show. For some reason, the live chat, you guys are blowing up, baby. I love reading it. Some of you say some pretty wild things, but not in a bad way. Always love hanging out with you. 7 a.m. every morning. If we keep going bonkers here in the live show, we'll just keep doing lives every single freaking day. Let me know what you guys are interested in. We do have a website, thebaldbradshow@gmail.com. Some of you do email me video clips. Jerry, I did see your clip yesterday. It was a funny one. I do actually watch them. So hit me up if you want me to cover anything here on the show, or something you're interested in, or something you want me to follow up and go deeper into. And with that being said, folks, we'll see you tomorrow here on The Bald Brad Show.